Hello people, and welcome back to Fortress Camelot. Yeah, we are in the next episode of our medieval-styled planet coaster town area. And I feel like we should start this episode by recapping a little bit what this is all about, because I felt that we went a little bit too much into all the medieval talk and also different talks about stuff and architecture, that we kind of lost a little bit what this whole area is about. And I really know that a lot of you guys are commenting usually that this really gives you Taron vibes, and I think that's a good summary of what this should deliver, even though it's really only inspired by and not redone or whatsoever. I mean, yeah, it gives you Taron vibes because it's a coaster going through a medieval town, full stop. That's basically the big thing. But also, one of the things that Taron makes, or that makes Taron stand out, is the fact how immersive the whole town is, and how cool the overall theming is, that this coaster is really passing by the buildings a few times, actually, just a lot of times I should say, and that also the people walking down can from nearly every point in this themed area can really see what's going on and can see the coaster passing by, which is super cool because it's also raising the excitement to go on to the coaster. And you know, the waiting times of 4 hours plus are not coming from having a boring coaster which is boring to look at, so it's definitely also down to the fact how the coaster is presented. And as we know, Phantasialand is usually doing a brilliant job in presenting their stuff. Taron is definitely no excuse. So what this area over here should deliver, and I think some of you already commented that also down below, and I think I'm also going to agree on that. This area may be potentially my best area built so far. I mean, I kind of, you know, architecture wise, I think I even like the Arabian one more, because it was really stand out more by the terms of how I used the pieces to create a really nice looking Arabian style, which hasn't been done in the game yet, because like medieval has been done in the game yet, and I can't really say that I'm able to kind of do a way or do an architecture style that hasn't been done yet. I'm seeing all the great builds on the workshop, so I could have simply taken those and put them in and make them just a little bit more shabby looking, and there we go. That would have worked the same way, because there are brilliant medieval builds in, and I mean, medieval building follows a certain rule, so I can't really do something too crazy about it to make it look too different. That's just not possible. So, you know, building-wise and architecture-wise, I guess there is not that big of a chance that this is standing out. But now the thing is, and this is what I wanted to talk about, the approach on that area is really like a theme park approach, combined with a really in-depth medieval architecture approach. So I wanted to really dig the medieval times in terms of backstory and background story, and why I chose to build what, and why I had some different architecture styles in here, and why this is like kind of a fortress and not a fort, what I had in the first episode, and why there is just a little chapel and no church, and why this castle on top of the building is not really a watchtower, but it could have been created out of a watchtower, and all these kind of things are really like the backstory to it. But this thing is at first a theme park area, and this is what I wanted to create. So this building, for example, over here, this is just a theme. This is just a kind of, you know, thing that's been built with some walls, and obviously I needed to build the whole thing because otherwise that would look a little bit strange. And I feel like it really turned out to be looking actually like a theme park. You have all the little alleys going through these buildings. It's really narrow, you can really see the coaster, it's really immersive themed, but you do have also a restaurant, you have some snack bars, you do have like a toilet and stuff, you know, all that kind of stuff what you need. We will be adding some more stuff in the future in these episodes, which I have obviously done already, so I don't want to talk about that yet. The queues are all themed, but there is a flat ride, there is a coaster, there's a river rapids in here. You do have some backstage area in the fortress, or actually in the castle, on top of the hill. The hill is kind of in a way done. It would never be realistic the way the hill is done, so it's really an artificial hill, which is pretty much the way I needed to do it, because that's also how these things are done. So I can't really do too much about it, because that's the way how a theme park would actually approach it. So yes, I know it would be like the most expensive area to build, but I think at the end it is at least realistic in the way how it is. So there's everything available what you need for a theme park, and still it looks like a medieval area. So I think I really managed to get this little compromise done. It's not too much of a medieval village, but it's also not too shabby theme park looking. Like I didn't cheat too much around, so that's fine. But yeah, so that's what I wanted to get rid of first, I guess. So to talk about that again, to make sure you guys know what this approach on this area was, and why it turned out the way it turned out. But now, as I already started in the last episode, let's go to another medieval fact. And one I also liked is the one that in the medieval times the people actually traveled and they traded over very, very long distances. Now I'm again going to read out what this article is going to say. It says, it may be the case that the majority of medieval people, particularly those who lived in the countryside, rarely traveled very far from where they lived, but that would be the case with quite a lot of people in much later ages also. It is not the case, however, that medieval people never traveled. Many went on pilgrimage, I guess it is, or pilgrimage, I don't know, sometimes journeying thousands of miles to do so. And those involved in trade certainly traveled, liking parts of the world together via merchandise across extraordinary distances. Even in the Middle Ages, all kinds of high-status goods were transported from very distant shores to various European lands. Silk from China, spices from Asia, brought to Europe via the Middle East, amber and furs from the Baltic. A few intrepid travelers, I guess, even wrote journals charting their journeys. William of Rubruck's journey to the eastern part of the world described his 3-year journey, which began in 1253, through the lands we know as the Ukraine and Russia nowadays. Very cool to know, I guess. I knew that they traveled, but that's quite a distance, I say. And it's taking 3 years journey. Well, I mean, glad you lived not that long, I guess. Anyhows, sorry, he's traveled like a tenth of his life. Anyhows, guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode. Again, as stated last time, I'm going to stop my commentary a little bit earlier than usually to make sure that I'm staying in time today. And yeah, I wish you all a good day and hope to see you in the next one. Make sure to like that video if you liked it, and also make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I'm getting tired of this. I'm so sorry. See you in the next one and have a good day. Bye bye.